All right, let's now analyze me approaching and leaving the turnaround line for the rush component of the force test. On the right side here, I'll be using the recommended technique, and on the left side here, I'll be using the most commonly used technique that we see. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is how far away my foot is from the line and compare from one frame to the other. When using the most commonly used technique on the left side here, you'll notice that my foot is relatively closer to the line than it is compared to when I'm using the recommended technique. With that, I may be taking an additional step every single 10 meters, thus slowing me down. That is one of the first differentiations that we should consider when determining which technique we want to use. The second is in the body position of the approach. You'll see here that I'm relatively straight up and down, whereas here I'm already starting to turn my body sideways. In the recommended technique, the sideways turning of the body will help facilitate a quicker approach into the hand release position. Let's watch how this unfolds. As we slowly move through frame by frame, we can see that we touch the line at relatively the same time. The difference is in the body position once more. You can see how high I am in the most commonly used technique, and my chest is going to have to move this distance in order to get to the floor. Whereas in the recommended technique, I've already started moving my chest down towards the floor. Therefore, I have less distance to travel and I can get my chest down much more quickly. The other thing you'll notice is that my hands are reaching for the floor because that's the direction I'm going to. Here in the most commonly used technique, you don't see that. And that's because my right hand is on the right side of my leg and my left hand is on the left side of my leg. And I can't get my hands to the floor because my legs are in the way. Let's continue going frame by frame. As we go down into the hand release position, you'll notice in the recommended technique, I'm already on the floor. Whereas in the commonly used technique, I'm not on the floor yet. Additionally, however, I didn't do it extremely well here because I'm on grass. I'm further away from the line here than I am in the commonly used technique. It is great for me to do this in the recommended technique because if you recall, my next direction is going this way. So the further I am for the line, the closer I am to my objective, which is running towards the 10-meter line. As we continue to go through this progression, I do my hand release on both sides and I get up. The speed of getting up is the same in both techniques. The reason my feet are still in the air in the most commonly used technique is because I was slower getting down to the ground. So that's not a differentiating factor. But what is how far my furthest leg is away from the line, meaning how close my furthest leg is to getting to my objective. We'll see here as on the most commonly used technique that my legs continue to move in the opposite direction that we want it to go to, thus making it the get up so much slower. Let's continue the frame by frame and let's actually do that comparison. Great distance away from the line, heading in the direction that I want to be in, very close to the line, and my face is actually still facing the line. Whereas here, I'm looking at my objective and I'm getting ready to go there. If we continue this frame by frame, let's get rid of those notes. I'm already out of the frame in the recommended technique in one step, whereas in my first step of the most commonly used technique, I'm still in the frame. That's an extra step you have to take every single time you do your chest to floor, significantly slowing you down. If this hasn't convinced you as to why you should use our recommended technique, I don't know what does. Thank you for listening and enjoy your training.